really bizarre.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
There's like nothing to do about it.
Yeah.
You know? Do you
Yeah.
get that?
No, but I've heard of people having that experience.
Yeah, it's
Mm-hmm.
not fun.
No, no.
Okay. Okay, so I'm confused. Okay. Sorry. Hello. I'm lost.
I should get some water. Really bizarre.
I really enjoyed your reading, Claire, at Argo recently.
Oh, the series, the home series.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Thank you, Deanna.
Yeah, it was really nice hearing you. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Okay. Okay. So, because I'm streaming it into, oh my goodness, they're all here and I was doing something. Yeah. I was just setting up. Hello, good evening, good afternoon, or no, good morning to some people, good evening to others. I was just setting up, we're streaming into YouTube. And now I just need to put that notice. Copy into the Soiree. So when you're not really able to do more than one thing at a time. I thought I let him in. Okay. Hello, hello. Hello.
Hello.
Good evening.
Good evening. I'll be back in a second.
Okay. And to some we say good morning. We have people here from Indonesia. And you're all dutifully muted. So I'm talking into this silence. So here's Shams. So you've had a very busy week, haven't you, Ihab?
Busy, but quite good actually. I'm very happy with the outcome. Yeah.
Yes. It's been very meaningful, I think. Shams. Hello, welcome, welcome. Bienvenue. Oh, there's Ali, okay. Trying to think, 1, 2. Oh, people are moving around. Here's Sharon. So we're streaming this right into YouTube. In case someone, I put it on my Facebook page to say that they could watch it there if they had trouble getting into the Launcher Soiree Zoom. Ihab, I've not been able to share with the page for Muslim Awareness Week. So if you wanted to share that link to YouTube, you could maybe do that if it's possible for you.
Okay.
I haven't been somehow I'm not allowed to share onto that page unless I
No, you're not. No, that's normal. Understood. Of course, of course.
the page for
I get you, Jen. Yes, I understand.
repeat. I don't know. We just had a repeat. Sorry. I'm not sure why that happened. There was an echo. Yeah. Hello, Jim. Huh. Yeah. What I've discovered is there's I don't know, 30 minutes or 30 seconds to a minute delay between what we do here and what goes into YouTube. Hello, Ali. Okay, so we have Maggie.
Mainnya di sini. Apa? Mainnya di sini nantinya. Ini punya siapa ya? Ya. Enggak.
Welcome. Hello.
Hello, hello, hello.
It would be, if you'd like, you could change your name so we know who you are. All you have to do is to right click on your image, and in there you can rename or click on the 3 dots and rename so we are aware of who you are.
Changing your name has never been easier.
So
I'm going to change chairs. Just
okay.
something a little more comfortable.
I'm going to mute you. Oh, 7:02. I'm going to ask our invited guests, are you expecting any more people than you see here? Are you expecting other friends? Should we wait a few more minutes? Here's Sue. I think we'll
I think it's okay to start, my dear Jane.
okay. I think we might just give it another moment because we just had someone come in. Hi, Sue. But we're so delighted to have you here with us this evening. It's really quite lovely. I've mentioned before we have people from Indonesia. I'm coming to you from northern Vermont. I don't know what other places are represented here tonight or this morning. Can you hear me okay? Okay. It's loud and clear. So I think we'll go ahead. We're 20 people right now. So bonsoir to all in Canada and the United States. Good morning to our guests from Indonesia. We begin by acknowledging that we in North America are gathered on the land of the original peoples. We are grateful for those who protect the land and water and wish to express our continuing desire to support justice and equity. And with this in mind, I would now like to invite Ihab Latoyev to say a few words about Muslim Awareness Week.
Thank you, Jen. I'm really very happy as one of the organizers of Muslim Awareness Week that the launch chair Soiree and Jen agreed to be a part of Muslim Awareness Week as an event included in the activities of Muslim Awareness Week. And it's not the first time this happened before. Jan has always been a supporter and contributor into Muslim Awareness Week. And just a brief word about Muslim Awareness Week. The idea behind Muslim Awareness Week is to really try to counter the core causes of what happened in Quebec City 4 years ago. We found that the commemoration of the victims and remembering is good, but it is really not enough to help our society eliminate the possibility or reduce at least the possibility of what happened from happening again. So we said the best thing that we can do is to open up as Muslim community to society at large, try to have society see Muslims as what they are, as normal, everyday women, men, and children, people who have aspirations, who have concerns, who contribute positively to society. So Muslim Awareness Week is not meant in any way to be talking about religion. It's really been meant to introduce people, to connect people with people, because that who you don't know or he who you don't know can be a danger, can be regarded through a stereotype, and then hate and misunderstanding develop. But when you know somebody, you start to feel that they are human beings like you, and that way this small pebble that we're throwing into the lake of our society will create concentric circles that will spread wide, and hopefully through knowing each other we will become a more homogeneous, more accepting, and more relaxed and comfortable society with our differences in belief, color, background, mother tongue, whatever it is. So without taking more of the time of this wonderful evening, I would like again to thank Jan and hope everybody enjoys this event. And I see many faces that I haven't seen for some time. I'm happy to see you all here, and let's get the ball rolling. Thank you.
Thank you, Ihab. And thank you for all the work that you've put into this. You've dedicated yourself to this so beautifully. And we're going to look forward to hearing from you again, along with Carolyn Marie Swade, followed by Ahmad Al-Khattat. Sorry, my tongue doesn't always work right. Shams Al-Habib and Deanna Radford and Ali D. Musirifa. And I just want to say a little word, because I seem to have said to someone recently, it's Dina, not Deanna, because somebody mistakenly corrected me. So it's Deanna. And so I just thought, well, let me make that really clear. But anyway, we're so very pleased to have you here, and as a way of welcome to this evening, which is celebrating the diversity within the Muslim world of authors and artists. We are going to now watch Brian's music video, which has been inspired by the 14th century Sufi poet Hafiz.
Its glass to the sun, and light pours in. A bird comes and from within me and sits on the crystal glass. I've left that dark cave forever. Now my body is blending with his. Now I have my wing as a bridge to you, so you may join us sun and light pours in. The earth lifts its glass to the sun and light pours in.
So as we've seen this evening, our host for this evening, Brian Campbell, is a Montreal song poet, dexterous finger stylist, and impassioned, heartfelt singer. As our Lawn Chair Soiree host, he is known to many of you, and he's also a widely published poet. Brian was shortlisted for the CBC Literary Competition and has several collections to his name, including Shimmer Report in 2015 and Passenger Flight in 2008. And now I turn the hosting to Brian.
Hello, everybody. Yes, okay. I hope you enjoyed that video. I just had enough photos to make a video out of it, including sparrows on my front lawn. So anyway, all right, well, without further ado, I'll introduce Ehab Latoyev. He's a poet and writer. His poetry book, To Love a Palestinian Woman, was published by Soiree in 2010. His works have appeared in multiple anthologies, papers, and webzines, and he is currently serving on the board of the Quebec Writers Federation. Ehab, who was born in Cairo, Egypt, also writes in classical Arabic and colloquial Egyptian. He holds a Bachelor of Engineering in Electrical Engineering and is an IT and Technical Services Manager at McGill University, where he is a member of the Board of Governors. Ehab has been and continues to be dedicated to social justice and is a founding and active member of a number of the NGOs, including Semaine de la Sensibilisation Musulmane, or Muslim Awareness Week. Ehab has collaborated on 2 poems with Carolyn Marie Swade, who is the Montreal-based author of 8 poetry books and the acclaimed novel Yasmin Haddad Loves Joanna C. Makatik. which was published by Baraka Books in 2017. She's performed in festivals and literary events in Canada and abroad, and her work has been featured on CBC Radio. So we'll welcome Ehab Latoyev and Carolyn Marie Swade.
Thank you, Brian.
Thank you.
Carolyn, would you take it from here?
Yeah, I guess what we're going to do is Ehab and I wrote 2 poems collaboratively, and we're going to each read our own lines as we read through the poem. So do we know which one we want to start with?
Your choice.
All right. Sorry. Okay, so I'm going to start with the one called Snowflakes. I am thinking of the energy that binds us.
The distances that separate us, the pain that blinds us, the love that pains us.
I awoke today to fresh snow, the origin stories of each flake.
One source, yet no two are alike.
Why have the stars gathered us in false fraternity? Okay, so Ehab, you'll start the next one.
I will. Titled 2020. 1816 was a year without summer. 2020 was a year like no other.
Somber season of hope and hopelessness, a new order.
We sailed alone, waved from afar to those who were so recently so close. We cried on virtual shoulders.
For our scrambled lives, we searched for meaning in the brevity of light. Listen.
We hear nothing. We hear a lot. We wonder where. We wonder who.
We wonder what will become our legacy when the children walk with their eyes wide open. So, Jan, I guess we have time to have a bit of a discussion. Is that okay? So, Ehab, it was a pleasure to work with you. I'm not used to working collaboratively. I don't know about you, but it was interesting. So I have, my first question is, personally, I'm not a team player. I don't work well in groups. So initially, how did you feel about the idea of writing a collaborative poem with another poet?
Initially, I was apprehensive. I didn't know how it will work. I am not a collaborative writer, artist either. And I was concerned, but I'm also an adventurer. So when Jan proposed the idea, I said, let's give it a shot. What's the worst that can happen? We're far away virtually anyway, so there will be no violence.
Yeah, I have to say that I wondered when I got the first lines for Ehab, I didn't have any idea what I was going to do with those. So I guess, did you find that our aesthetics meshed well together, or was there a measure of frustration for you during any part of the process?
No, I think that it really worked organically. I mean, I was concerned, as I said before we started, and I found that it flowed naturally, and I know that, I mean, I have read quite a lot of your work and heard you read. I know our styles are different, but I think it went line by line or stanza by stanza, and it went fine at the end. And I think you might be wondering about that as well. I mean, the issue was when to close, when to consider that the poem is over. And you know that about me, I am not a fan of long poems. So that was one of my concerns, to keep going on and on without really knowing when to stop. So that was my as soon as we started, I felt okay. I felt the ideas, the sentiment is complementing each other. So it was simple. That was my second concern, which is when to stop, and it also worked okay, I guess.
But okay, but what type of completion were you looking for? And I asked that because you know, and I know, and other poets know from the French poet Paul Valéry that a poem is never finished, only abandoned. What was it we talked about the poem maturing. You used that term actually when we were going back and forth, and we both remembered this a bit differently. I felt like you kind of had a sense of when it matured, but you disagreed with me. You said that, you didn't think it was necessarily you who decided. What was it about the line that came? I think in both cases, were they my lines that ended the poems? I don't remember.
Actually, yes. Actually, in both cases, they were your lines, and really, I mean, yes, I agree with you that a poem can always be considered abandoned, and the poet or somebody else. I mean, in Arabic poetry, there are so many examples of people digging up famous poems and recreating over them. So the poem can always be continued or inspiring to the beginning of a new poem. But really, I do think that, I mean, I held the lines in my hand, I read them, and let's not say that they are finished, but that this is a very reasonable, suitable ending line for the ideas that were presented in the poem. So I can't really say that this is the best, but yeah, I mean, it felt matured, it felt complete. It didn't feel incomplete, at least. Maybe that's a better way of putting it. It didn't feel incomplete. And when two people are collaborating, I guess this is good enough.
Right. Well, okay, so following up on that, do you feel that there was a common theme in the poems, in the two poems, because we were only supposed to do one? Do you feel that there was a common theme in these poems? And if so, what was it? And I'm going to add to that. Do you feel that coming at it from our different perspectives, our different cultural backgrounds, I'm Canadian born, Lebanese Christian. Do you think that any of our cultural differences, not to stress differences, but first of all, did that work well together for you? And was there a common theme in these poems for you?
Look, I started the first one, the 2021. I started it because I mean, thought rightly or wrongly that Jan was proposing that we do something that is related to this last year and the current new world we're living in. And the idea came to me to compare the strange year known historically as a year without summer, 1816, when the volcano in Indonesia, I believe, had prevented the sunlight from reaching the earth for many months, and thus the temperature of that year was an anomaly, to 2020, where we lived and still are living this new style of life we are. So the lines came to me there, and then it really, I mean, it was over to you, and you picked up on the same lines, somber season of hope and hopelessness, which continued on the same thing we're talking. I mean, I thought I realized we're talking about the same thing, really, and it flowed from there. So no, I don't think at all that that I don't know if somebody. It's very difficult for us really to do that. But if somebody takes that poem as is, without knowing that two people wrote it, without knowing the circumstances of its writing, would that person see that there are two voices here or not? I would never be able to tell. Let's do that experiment. We can do that experiment. So that was the first poem. The second poem, you started, and it also rang rang correct to me, because especially thinking about Muslim Awareness Week and the problems we're having in society, and you started with a beautiful line, I'm thinking of the energy that binds us, and I flipped to the other side, the distances that separate us, the pain that blinds us, the love that pains us. So it again, very, very, it's not a something I can analyze beyond that, but I didn't feel a difference in a stark difference in thinking, a stark difference in culture, a stark difference in anything. It flowed very naturally. And I am going to propose that after we end this short discussion, that you read one and I read the other again to people, instead of alternating lines. And then we can ask the audience to tell us what they think very briefly, or even so that we don't take a lot of time, they can write it in the chat. Sure,
if you like, because I think some of this time is for you as well. So I don't want to cut into your time. No worries at all. No worries at all. Whenever Brian says your time is up, my time is up. That's okay. That's fine. All right. So do you want to do that now? Sure.
I think it's a great idea to read a poem twice anyway, so especially having been informed by this discussion of it. So I think it would be refreshing. And actually, I will, since Jim is with us here, I will actually say that the style of Speak Up is really added something to poetry reading in many readings I've been attending over the years. So the fact that you read the poem again after people have discussed it really gives you another reflection. So I think it's a welcome thing. I hope, I'm happy you agree. Okay. Totally. Mm-hmm. So you start, Ehab, whichever one you want. Okay. Snowflakes. I am thinking of the energy that binds us, the distances that separate us, the pain that blinds us, the love that pains us. I awoke today to fresh snow, the origin stories of each flake, one source, yet no two are alike. Why have the stars gathered us in false fraternity? And the second poem, 2020. 1816 was a year without summer. 2020 was a year like no other. Somber season of hope and hopelessness, a new order. We sailed alone, waved from afar to those who were so recently so close. We cried on virtual shoulders for our scrambled lives. We searched for meaning in the brevity of light,
Listen, we hear nothing. We hear a lot. We wonder where. We wonder who. We wonder what will become our legacy when the children walk with their eyes wide open.
I'm really very happy and proud of this collaboration.
So will we do it again?
Yes,
We can try. Let some months pass, then we can
beautiful.
try it again.
Yeah.
This is
Actually,
beautiful.
yeah, full confession. I by the time we got to the end, I was relieved and happy that it worked out. So I'm going to turn it over to you. I want to thank Jen for proposing this and inviting me to participate in this event. And it was a pleasure to work with you, Ehab. So I'm turning it over to you.
Thank you. So, Brian, how long do I have?
You have 7 minutes and
Okay.
12 seconds. No, I'm only kidding. I think it's fairly open.
No,
We're gonna have a few selections of your writings. You have 3 hours. No. Anyway, no. Somewhere in between those two.
Sure.
Closer to the 7-minute mark. Anyway.
As I said, stop me if you want to move on, because I'm also very looking forward very much to hearing the other poets that will be with us tonight, representing the diversity within Muslim thought and writing in Montreal and beyond. I'm going to read recent pieces. One of them, the one I'm going to read first, I'm going to, and maybe it will show that, because this was written also in December, January, the same time I was working with Carolyn on those collaborations. So maybe it will show there is also a state of mind there that I am in. And this poem, actually, I was interviewed by a multimedia producer, a Palestinian, and then she shared with me some of her writing, and it initiated the thought about this poem. So I wrote this. Quiet. When the night is quiet, as life's been for years, and the eyes of others fill my eyes with tears, I turn and toss, I chase my dreams, till night suffocates and morning screams. The day won't rest, I can't escape. It's deafening loud. I lose all hope. I wait and wait till the night is back, till the night is quiet. So this was finished also in January this year. Last year, in the middle of the change, I mean, by the time the change of our lifestyles was settling, and I have to share that I have been going back physically to work for the last 4 months. A part of it is that my work as an IT manager requires some physical presence with the beloved machines, but also I wanted to go back to work because staying home wasn't doing it for me. And this poem I'm going to read was written during the months that I worked 90 or 100% from home. And I called it One-Way Ticket. And I'll read this one twice, actually. One-way ticket. There were birds in the sky. There was fish in the sea. People greening the fields and roaming the streets. At the dawn of despair, they all disappear. A one-way ticket to nowhere. The babies would cry, the mothers would weep. What's home and what's peace if no one believes it's a one-way ticket to nowhere? Flowers wither and die, and hope fades away. A lot has gone by, but there's nothing to say, for it's a one-way ticket to nowhere. I'll go again. There were birds in the sky, there was fish in the sea, people greening the fields and roaming the streets. At the dawn of despair, they all disappear. A one-way ticket to nowhere. The babies would cry, the mothers would weep. What's home and what's peace if no one believes it's a one-way ticket to nowhere? Flowers wither and die, and hope fades away. A lot has gone by, but there's nothing to say, for it's a one-way ticket to nowhere. And I will end by a poem that is an example of what Carolyn had mentioned earlier about poems that you never know when the poem is finished. This poem, I had written a few lines and I left it as unfinished for about 10 years. And for some reason, I saw those lines in 2020, late 2019, and I decided to finish it as a song for my dear niece and singer that has put to music so many of my writings, Miriam Toller. So I finished it as a song for her, and it ended up being quite nice, actually, if I can say so myself. But that awaits others to hear it and let us know. It's called, and it has been called from the beginning, Footsteps. I trace my journey step by step, a path I walked alone. You grow on me, I grow on you, we sing a sacred tune. Then darkness spreads, you scar my heart, I wound your soul, we fall. The music fades and fear creeps in, the vibrant tune goes stale. As we descend the pit of guilt, surrendering to fate, the road to love is blocked by doubt, the road to peace by hate. Thank you.
Thank you. All right. Thank you, Ihab. Thank you very much. Okay, we'll move on to Ahmad Al-Khattat. Ahmad Al-Khattat was born in Baghdad, Iraq. His work has appeared in print and online in journals globally and has poems translated into several languages. He's been nominated for the Best of the Net in 2019. He's been nominated for the Pushcart Prize in 2020. He's the author of The Bleeding Heart Poet, Love on War's Front Line, Gas Chamber, Wounds from Iraq, Roofs of Dreams, The Grey Revolution, and Naomi and Lips of Sweetness. He lives in Montreal, Canada. He's had to work tonight, so Jan will share the poem they wrote together. Jan Jorgensen, the founder and co-host of this event, the Lawn Chair Soiree, writes poetry and homilies. Originally from the United States, she has lived in
Jojagi.
Tautagi, yes, that's right. Montreal, Quebec for 30 years. Now we'll view a video with Ahmad reading his poetry to us. Oh, yeah?
No,
Oh,
I'm going to read the poem and then we'll see the video.
okay.
Okay?
That's
Okay.
fine. Good.
Otherwise, we'll mess up our guy in the next room.
Yeah. Okay.
So I'll share this poem with you. I was inspired to do this collaboration poetry because of the workshop that I took with Andre Farkas with the do you remember the beautiful corpse exercise? So hats off to Andre. Gravestone. I am less than, more than human. I choose this moment to focus on the unfolding. I want to hear, but the nation of today is becoming voiceless, as if I am sitting in the graveyard with tears, writing a poem about the echoes I hear from my dreams. Listen. Whose voices rise and from which stones? Where is the code book that helps decipher these dreams? I sometimes stay awake all day thinking of you as I start sobbing the moment I hear the noise of death surround my sweet dreams back in Baghdad. I wake and realize the dead bodies were smiling hopelessly as they started describing that God had given me another chance to describe their pains and wounds. And I forgot about my flower that blooms out of my sorrowful tears.
Oh,
And
beautiful.
now we're ready, Ted.
Hello, everyone. My name is Ahmed Al Khatat. I'm from Iraq, Baghdad. Currently, I live in Montreal, Canada. Today, I'll be talking to you guys about my poetry books, and I'll be reading some of my poems. So here's my first one. It's called The Bleeding Heart Poet. Technically, the name is actually my ink name. Bleeding Heart Poet is actually my ink name. And the second one is Love on the Word Front Line. As you see, that's the name. And here's my third one, Gas Chamber. And my fourth one, One's from Iraq. And the fifth one is Roofs of Dreams with the map of Baghdad, if you guys were wondering. And the sixth one is Naomi Lives the Swiss Witness. I wrote this book, it's for my fiance, and that's her. It was done by a friend of mine. And the last one that I wrote it was for the revolution we had in October in Baghdad, well, in the whole Iraq, but it started from Baghdad, called The Great Revolution. So I'll be reading 5 of my favorite poems from some of my books. All right, so here we go. We start with The Bleeding Heart Poet. So this poem, the title of the poem is Don't Kiss My Coffin. In times of sorrows, back in the awful past, I carry masks to hide my tears from my mirror. I lied all the beauty I own in seconds without chances until I met with the dead, who wears a beauty mask. I wore his beauty mask and I started having small cuts, losing control of myself, laughing with bloody tears. Suicidal feelings and thoughts were real and never went away. I yelled out until it woke me up, and you embarrassed me like a soldier. Moments later, the sunshine appeared, and I told you a secret. Don't kiss my coffin, sweetheart. Someday, my process will be rhymes, an unseen spirit trapped in a cage. I was all alone, like a fall cloud, dropping God tears above us, overfly in the hiding dream. So that's one. And there's one I can read it. The other one is basically, I would say, I wrote this one because, like the first one I wrote it, Don't Kiss My Coffin. The story behind this poem is because, like I lost a friend. And this friend, he was always one of those people who was like always giving me hope and give me inspiration. And, like when you have someone, it hurts for me, especially like, I come from Iraq. And as you guys know, Iraq had so many upside down. It's more downs than up. So technically, it created this kind of like shock moments I had when he passed away. So that's why I said, don't kiss my coffin, because he never talked about that. He was more like about, oh, let's just be happy, live your day, So it was very rough. All right, moving on to the next poem. Sorry, I just don't want to get into too emotional. Okay. So I'm gonna be reading you guys now like Love on the War Frontline. Although it was written based on a poem that I had in an interview in the US, in Washington, D.C., with a Syrian journalist. And the Syrian journalist, she was asking me, she thought I was an orphan. Based on this poem, after she read it and she posted on her Facebook. And then I was like, no, I live with my parents and I'm engaged, And she was quite shocked. She was like, when I read this poem, you made me feel like you were an orphan. And that's why I decided to name this book Love on the War Frontline. So I'll read the poem first, then I'll tell you the story behind it. Okay. Grown up without parents, nor stepbrother or stepsister, it creates an empty space inside the heart, the mind, and the soul. The graveyard said that I used to sleep between two old tombs. On the right, it was for a soldier, and to the left, it was his beloved. I slept and thought they were my parents. I talked with them, and I always tasted my jeans, my mother breast milk, to smile for a day. My story is too dull to be shared. Some will cry and do nothing, others would give some tips, and nobody offers me a small hope. I became friends with spirits, most of them weren't orphans, who played so many fun times, bombs and bullets weren't included. So many wars in my world. Rainbow appeared in movies, so much smoke and blood were the only ones in my fantasy. Yours are locked in the lockers, the keys with the enemies, bleeding one for every hour, sucking it until the spirit flies to heaven. Freedom is not a word, peace is not a word either. History is a book of lies written by leaders and brainwashers. Luck died with the younger kids, bad luck died with the widows. The sun arises with fall tears. The rain in winter is clean. Sorry, the rain tears to rain in winter to clean the views. Love in the War Frontline was seen in more movies. My life is real, like the rose never dies to kiss the dead and die. So the story of behind of this poem, I wrote it during Valentine's Day, and the reason why I wrote it that day, I was reading a novel about the wartime, and I decided to create this character for this poem, which is this poem. Was an orphan who described to you how he sees Valentine's Day in a country that is on war, and he's an orphan, and that's why the title comes from this poem. So technically, he's not in love. I'm not in love. Technically, since I'm the author. So yeah, like it tells you what does it feel like, because there are some people who are like, oh, do you guys, they even ask me, they're like, oh, do you guys do Valentine's Day? I'm like, yeah, we do. They're like, how do you guys do it? So I don't want to be cheesy and talk about like, yeah, I write a poem, I buy chocolate with a rose, although like I have allergies from roses and flowers. I know it sounds funny, but it's true. That's why I never accept flowers or roses as gifts. So, I decided to write about, orphans who are living in the countries who are in the wars, like all over the world. I'm not going to say Iraq only, but since I'm from Iraq, I'm talking about our own orphans, because we have, sadly, the numbers are going higher and higher. So I decided to share the stories in my own way with those kind of poems. So third poem is going to be from Gas Chamber. I know it sounds like a bit similar to some issues that we had like related to Holocaust, but it's totally different. I just want to mention that clear. It's not related to the Holocaust. It's something different. I'll read you the poem, Gas Chamber itself, and tell you the story behind, as usual. I'm sorry if I'm too fast, but that's who just I am. I hope you guys are catching up with me. Okay. Yeah, this one, one of the reasons I chose this name for this book is because this book have more of the poems that I wrote during my depression. So you will see more poems about death, darkness, and like, you know, all sort of stuff. I'm just gonna find it. Sorry, like I reorganized it, but looks like it didn't happen. Okay, so okay, so here we go. Sorry. My life lately seems like a gas chamber. Everything appears in different colors. Nowadays, my name is no longer important since I have got a number, and soon I will have a legal price tag. I thought the snow would cover the cruelty of blood's suckers. Yet, I saw broken cage in spring with blood and feathers of the lovebirds above the winter rain. With no tweets to welcome the depressed autumn. The sun shines at midnight, and it looks like as if the city is on fire, with the flames around my glowing path. So many times, and nobody is bright to reveal the sun before death starts collecting my soul. I have been blinded as I wish to go back to the days where my sight always smiled and never cried, for watching my old pictures of memories with tears falling in silence of my depression. So the story behind this poem is technically when I wrote it, I was a bit feeling, I wouldn't say a bit, but I was like fully feeling depressed. And my, depending on talking about myself, I was watching a movie about World War II. So you can see, like, when you're depressed and you watch something even more depressing, it creates. Some people pull the trigger, but you know, I'm not into those kind of stuff. Thank God, you know, or drinking alcohol. I'm not into that either. But you could see, like, you know, because technically the term gas chamber, what it means, like one of those rooms that were, you know, like where the Nazis would use to send the prisoners and open the gas on them, and they would just kill them. So technically, since I'm the writer, so I wrote this poem with the imagery that as if I was one of them. But technically, I wasn't in the World War II, but I created my room into a gas chamber and described how I see my depression if I was in gas chamber. So you could see, like, okay, the name is related, but it's not totally related because depression, you know, like people who died, I'm pretty sure they have more stuff in their mind more than depression. You know what I mean? So that's where the name came from. So technically, it was like more, if we say it in a short words, you know, we should say like the author was inspired by the idea of gas chamber and described his own depression as a gas chamber. You know, because you know the term depression is very vague, like very big and very meaningful. So if you're gonna say, if I'm gonna call my book depression, people are gonna be like, oh no, thank you, I don't want to buy it. So, you know, not so many people want to read about depression. Although I'm one of those people who love to read about depression because I feel like depression have some knowledge and you can learn more about yourself and how you can cure yourself. But you know, some people they're gonna be like, no, thank you. So I decided to name it gas chamber. And fun fact, I remember one time I was shown that to a friend of mine who used to work with me in the bookstore, and I forgot that my friend, she's actually, you know, like, well, I didn't forget, like I knew that lately after, like a while after, that one of her grandma, she died in those camps in the Nazi time, in the Holocaust. So technically when she read that, she's like, oh my God, are you writing about the Holocaust? And I was like, no. And then, you know, I knew after that, you know, her grandmother, she died in the moment. Anyway, I don't want to be too depressing. Sorry, guys, but this is just a story. Moving on, I'm gonna read you this guy. Wounds from Iraq. The reason why I called Wounds from Iraq, it's also like based on a poem. But this book, it was technically, I made it a challenge with me and myself when I went to visit my country back in 2019. It was my first visit since I left when I was 5 years old. I'm 31, by the way, if you guys wonder. I'm 31. So I went when I was 30. So going to your motherland at the age of 30 is not the same when you go when you're like 12 or 10. You know, you're more like, you have more sights, you know, you have more like dreams, you have more deeper looking, you know. It's not like, okay, yeah, I'm gonna be with my mom, I'm gonna visit my uncle. No. It's like what I said to someone, a friend of mine. I said, sometimes people see a car accident and be like, oh, it's a car accident. They take their phone and they start filming. But, you know, if you're like someone who's a writer or a poet, you see this car accident more deeper, you know. It's like I remember one time there was like, you know, like, for example, I can tell you something very personal about me, which I can share it because it's not something very personal. It's like when I see fireworks, it makes me cry. The reason why it makes me cry, because it reminds me of the times when the US started bombing back in 2003, because the sound, the view is similar. For so many people, it makes them happy. Some people take, you know, like pictures, take beautiful smiles. But for me, it makes me cry because it reminds me of the times that when I saw those bombs hitting my country, and at that moment I knew that my country is not going to be the same country that I left from. So most of the poems here, 95%, were written in Iraq. So they were not written here. You know, they were the only thing that was written here is the editing. Although the editing was not very powerful, but still, we can say it was a good editing. Okay, so I'm gonna read you the poem that I wrote in my country called Death. In my country, everything is related to death. I smell death, I swallow death, and I hear about hope from the distance of death. I see death and I realize that he is a harmless angel, collecting spirits as if he creates more widows and orphans in the land of death. So as you see, that was like a small poem, about death. The story behind this poem, I would say, is because, like when I went to my country, like there's something I find it very different. Like, I remember when I came out of the airport, I still remember there was this perfect smell that I smelled it. It smells like something burning. And it could be like, okay, like something normal. Like as my father said, he's like, oh, it's just normal because, it's like you moved to a different country that is way different from Canada, which is like maybe could be right. But at the same time, it was also because, like sometimes I think about stuff way different from people what they think. Some people would think they're like, oh, maybe that's just like, you. But me, like I thought about it more as the smell of death, and that's why you see this poem. I said I smell death. Why? Because it was something different. So in my mind, I was like, maybe what I'm smelling death because in Iraq, you never know when you can you never know who's gonna maybe you see this person who's nice to you, the next day this nice person he can be a mean person and he could take your life easily. So yeah, like those poems were most of them, like I wrote them with tears because I was very shocked. Like I was very shocked. It's like, well, this is the country that I came from. Like it was kind of like shocking, but technically, what can I say? Just, and if you guys wondering who's this kid is, that's not me, by the way. Many people they're like, oh my god, you were so cute. I was like, no, guys, that's not me. I know it's cute, but that's not me. In case if you guys wonder, I'm not that depressed kid. This kid it's funny because I don't know if you guys know, but there is a famous video. It was like a small video of a Syrian orphan. His name was Umran, who was survived the war because his family they all died, and he's the only one who survived it. When I saw his face, when I saw how he looks, he made me hope that I should maybe cover it because my book is born from Iraq. And I know this kid is from Syria, which is like our neighbor. But at the same time, I was like, it could match. This kid, and here the red light he's not from Scotland, as some people thought. He was like, oh, he's from Scotland. You know, I was like, no, he's not a big fan of Scotland soccer team or something. That was his blood. But you know, the artist who made the cover, she was very brilliant. She made it sound like a bit like less, you know, dark. So you know, there's a poem I wrote about him here. So here's the poem called "Lonely Again." Here I am, lonely again, and crying alone. Ask the moon if he feels lonely. He said, I'm warm from sunshine and happy with all the glowing stars. Here I am, lonely again, but not crying. Ask the death if he likes his mission. He said, I'm rising grief and floating with blood, miserable for watching Umran by himself. So, you know, those are my 5 poems. I don't know if you guys want me to read more. Hopefully, maybe next interview. I don't mind. Those 3 books, you know, like, you know, there was one. This one, if you maybe can write it, I can read some of it in February when it's gonna be Valentine's Day. I know it's gonna be locked down. I hope it's not gonna be locked down. Hopefully, we can meet with each other. But this one is like full of love poems to my fiance. And you know, if you guys are wondering where my books can be found, they can be found on eBay, some of them, and some of them on Amazon. And thank you.
Thank you. Yeah. Thanks remotely to Ahmed Al-Khattat. That was very interesting. Moving on, we're going to feature Shams Al-Habib. Shams means the sun in the Arabic language, and Dr. Shams is an Egyptian-Canadian Sufi master, holistic naturopathic expert, Reiki master, and teacher, as well as accomplished singer and musician. Shams comes from a distinguished Egyptian art and music family. Her beloved father is the famous Egyptian music composer Ibrahim Ragab. She has performed Sufi and spiritual music in many events in Egypt, Canada, and overseas. Dr. Shams Al-Habib is a founder and owner of Baraka Canadian Wellness Center, and you can find her contact information in the chat section. So first, Shams will be performing music for us, and she'll be interviewed then by Deanna Radford, whose path as a writer began circuitously as a performer in the campus community radio, which led quickly led to writing and about music and sound. Deanna arrived at writing poetry as an extension of these interests, and last spring, Arshav as Fizial, archive official publications released a recording by her poetry sound group Cloud Circuit. Her poetry will appear in upcoming editions of the Belfield Literary Review, Watch Your Head, and Women and Environments International. And she's working on a manuscript of poetry. So let's welcome Shams Al-Habib. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Brian.
Nice to see you.
Nice to see you again.
Yeah.
Are we going to, we're going to a video first?
Oops, let's see.
Shams is going to sing first, then you'll have your conversation, and then we'll have the video. Unless it's really messed up.
Thank you so much, Jen. This beautiful instrument, it's called al-oud, it's lute Arab, and this is a very old instrument. My father gave it to me. It's more than 50 years old, and it's all wood. And it was my father who taught me how to sing and to play piano and oud. So the song I'm gonna sing, it's my own composition, and it's about divine love. Connect your heart, please. اللهم صل وسلم وبارك عليه وعلى آله صلى الله عليه. صل يا ربي صلاة وسلاما دائمين على محمد وآله والصحابة والتابعين. صل يا ربي صلاة وسلاما دائمين على محمد وآله والصحابة والتابعين. على طه حبيب قلبي روحي ونور العين. على طه حبيب قلبي روحي ونور العين. صل يا ربي صلاة وسلاما دائمين على محمد وآله والصحابة والتابعين. لا إله إلا الله، لا إله إلا الله، لا إله إلا الله، لا إله إلا الله، لا إله إلا الله. نور قلوب العارفين، لا إله إلا الله. نور قلوب العاشقين، فيا إلهي بحقها اجعلنا من الواردين حوض الشفيع محمد، فنصبح من الفائزين بزيارة حبيبي أحمد ورؤية رب العالمين. بزيارة حبيبي أحمد ورؤية رب العالمين. صل يا ربي صلاة وسلاما دائمين. على محمد وآله والصحابة والتابعين. يا دنيا غري غيري فأنت لن تغريني، فإني في حالي سيري رب العرش يحميني. غري غيري فأنت لن تغريني، فإني في حالي سيري رب العرش يحميني، رب العرش يحميني. صل يا ربي صلاة وسلاما دائمين على محمد وآله والصحابة والتابعين. صل يا ربي دواما على خير المرسلين بمقدار عظمة ذاتك في كل وقت وكل حين، في كل وقت وكل حين، في كل وقت وكل حين. Thank you so much.
That was so beautiful.
Thank you so much, Diana.
Yeah. Before I get into my questions, I just wanted to give my thanks to Jan and the Lawn Chair Soiree and to Muslim Awareness Week for including me in this event. It's really special coming together, and I'm excited to be taking part in it and to be talking about Sham's music. So I'm coming to this from my point of view as a music fan, and I am fascinated by this, like the sound that you create, and I'm really curious about what it was like for you growing up. You mentioned that your father taught you to sing and play. It's the oud that you played this evening?
Yes, yes. Exactly.
Yes. What was it like for you as a kid growing up? Was there music around everywhere? Can you talk about that experience a little bit?
Actually, it was amazing. My childhood, I had a beautiful childhood. And my father was singing most of the time at home and composing new music for TV shows and for children, songs and many things. And my mother used to work, God bless her and keep her safe. She was working in the National Theater of Puppet Theater in Cairo as well. So my father was composing the music for the puppet show, and my mother was playing the puppets, and I used to spend in the studio and then going to see the Muppet show or the puppet show. And he told me that I sang before I talked.
That sounds like such an inspiring and a rich environment to grow up in. And at any point, did you start playing music with your dad?
I started singing first, and then I started to play piano when I was 4 years old, and I started to learn oud. For me, it was very challenging because usually it's more men than playing oud than women. So it was like a challenge for me, but I started to learn when I was 13 years old, and I kept practicing and practicing. And my father, he was my teacher, and
wow,
yeah, God bless his soul. Yeah,
that's so wonderful. I've had this chance to see you perform live and also to listen to your music online, and you make it all look effortless. You truly do. So I really find inspiration in that. And what I'd like to know is, you mentioned the piece that we listened to was your own composition. Is there a balance between traditional spiritual music and repertoire and your own compositions? Do you play more from one than the other, or is it a mix?
I sing mostly Sufi songs because most of them are about divine love. There is lots of poems, like Rumi poems, for example, and about how to reach the beloved and how to work on ourselves. And I'm so blessed to have the voice that God gave me, and I'm using my voice to heal as well. So when I sing, I make the intention for the vibration, because everything is vibrating and everything is energy. So I make the intention to heal, and to open the heart and give hope and happiness.
Is that where your practice as your wellness practice comes together with your art, your music, and I kind of see a link between your professional practice as all of the things that you do, and between music and the spiritual connection. Do they align in your day-to-day?
Yes, exactly. Actually, in 2016, I got my PhD in alternative medicine. Is the combination between the sound healing I sing during my sessions and with the energy and the body work. So it's the balancing. The idea is very simple. It's to balance body, mind, heart, and soul.
Wow.
Yeah,
that's
and
incredible.
It's called Baraka Divine Healing Energy, and you can check it out on my website. It's barakahealing.com. Yeah.
And will you record an album of your music for us to enjoy in the future? Oh, somebody, Hannah has said you're a magician, so
Hi, Hannah. Thank you for attending with us. And thank you for all the compliments that I'm happy that everyone is happy with my songs. So I recorded two albums that I will post them online soon. One song, it's on SoundCloud. If you Google Shams Al Habib, you will find it on
Okay.
on SoundCloud. I will try to share it as well in the chat section.
Oh, that's exciting.
Yeah.
Excellent.
And I'm about to have the third CD soon, inshallah. It's in the editing and mixage phase. I recorded in the McGill Conservatoire here in Montreal.
Oh, wow. I can't wait to hear it.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
You're welcome. I am wondering, do you have any questions for your listeners? Or do your listeners, do other people here have any questions for Shams about her music? Or perhaps lots of gratitude. Yeah, that I can sense.
Thank you so much. I would like to add another thing. During this hard time that we're all passing through, it's really to keep hope and to imagine there's like whenever you feel down or depressed or lonely, like most of people are feeling now, it's really just to put your hand on your heart and to breathe and imagine there is a waterfall of light coming down from heavens, washing away all this loneliness and sadness away, and just breathe and keep breathing. You can imagine you're flying or swimming or and take yourself back to one of the happiest memories of your life and recall this memory and relive it again. It's really about the mind to change how you what you think about. So if you're always thinking about what's happening and I'm alone, so we're dwelling into that, but just shift your mind into this beautiful memory and breathe and relax. And I hope everything will be okay, so inshallah. And another thing, I offer online sound healing sessions as well during the current, like the lockdown we're having now.
Incredible.
Yeah.
That's the best advice. I think that is, very, good medicine.
Thank you so much, Diana. Thank you. And thank you, Jane and Brian and everyone who attended with us tonight. Thank you so much.
Yeah. Should we go to the video now?
Sure.
Okay.
Shams, did you want to say anything about the video?
Maybe after it was during بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم قل هو الله أحد الله الصمد لم يلد ولم يولد ولم يكن له كفوا أحد الله أكبر.
الله يا حق الله يا حق الله يا حق الله هو 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 يا نور الله يا نور الله يا نور الله يا نور الله هو 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 يا حي الله يا حي الله يا حي الله يا حي الله هو 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 يا قيوم الله يا قيوم الله يا قيوم الله يا قيوم الله هو 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 يا شفيع الله يا شفيع الله يا شفيع الله يا شفيع الله يا معافي الله يا معافي الله يا معافي الله يا معافي الله هو 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 يا سلام الله يا سلام الله يا سلام الله يا سلام الله هو 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 يا الله الله يا الله الله يا الله الله يا الله الله
Wow, that's beautiful.
Thank you so much.
Very beautiful. Quite a journey. Of course, I recognize Tanya Evanson. I don't know the other person, but anyway, and it's a kind of you take us on a journey, you know, and it's kind of complete. I find myself doing this. Do you have anything that you wish to say? I think you were kind of cut off by the beginning of the video, Shams.
Yeah, actually, the video we just saw, it was during a Sufi event with the Anayati Sufi order. And I'm gonna sing with them again on Zoom on the Valentine's Day on the 14th of February. And I can share the link with Jen if she wants to send to her mailing list. And all are welcome to attend with us.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah.
Okay. This is, I guess, a new order, the Zoom Sufi order.
This is the only way we can, meet.
Right. Yeah.
You remember, you used to be one of my honored guests. I used to be at Rumi Ways of Love Meditation and Sufi Circles every month here in Montreal. Hopefully, we can do it again and to invite you and
It'll happen.
to come and to attend this in person together, inshallah.
Yeah. To actually sense our presences physically there. Wow, instead of looking at screens. Anyway, well, at least the screens enable a certain kind of encounter. Well, thanks a lot, Shams. Anybody else have any questions or comments? Anyway, it was beautiful. Okay, thank you. Okay, now our next poet will be zooming in with us from Indonesia, where a 12-hour difference places them in the early morning. He'll read for us, and then we'll watch a video of part of a conversation Ali shared with Jan. So I guess I'll introduce Ali. This Ali Di Busirifa was born in Pekalongan, Central Java, India. He graduated from State Islamic University, Sunan Kalijaga, Yogyakarta. He is an actor and poet. His first book is Birds on the Pillar of Sorrow. That's Yogyakarta Interlude, 2013. And in 2016, he published his second book, Waves of a Country of Legends. That's by Halaman in Yogyakarta, in Indonesia, in 2016. He lives in Yogyakarta. So, without further ado, let's give a hand for Ali.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Everybody hears me? Okay. Okay. I'm going to read a piece of my poem. Actually, this poem is printed in my recent anthology, my recent book of poem. It's called Mencari Cinta dari Cerita ke Cerita. In the English should be looking for love or seeking for love from story to story. And it's a little bit long poem and consists of 8 parts. So it's called Lyrics of Chakapake. First, the young man left and was hurt. He left when the sky was dark, and the face once moon was then an angry lightning. The hand once loving was then an unsheathed sword, and he was cast out, living with painful cuts in his chest as a tamed son. He walked down thousands of hills and deserts, unable to understand why a judgment turned to a dagger, and life was an act of accepting the unexpected and uncontrollable. The sharp tongue was then regretful for speaking words beyond common sense. But the blooming flower had already withered, and someone had been made valueless, living under the burden of a lifelong shame as an animal on the bottom of a ravine. Third, he who drains your tears is he who wishes your happiness. Someone tried to calm him down, but the young man was then a meaningless death, who thought of a meaningful life but lost every way to compose it, until a hand of love picked him from the place where he was helpless, before everything went worse and there was no way back to the start. 4. In the hand of love, a dust shines. When a fireplace is useless with the absence of flame, the hand of love teaches him how to become firewood. When an old woman, as tough as iron, lives a lonely life in a remote woods, the hand of love guides him how to free every soul from the disaster of loneliness and emptiness. When a flower grows on a rock because of love, he then knows the meaning of a mother. And when he is mother convinces him love does not need beauty. It is beauty that needs love. And everything good may grow inside the ugly animal-like body. Now he starts to understand that a father can be anybody who protects him from venomous snakes. And a family can be any land that is open for seed and grows it. 5. No rose is unwilling to bloom, no lamp is unwilling to shine. He rushed to get educated, to follow the heart light of a guru. He danced in the middle of fire, he smiled while pierced by a thorn. He let all insults lather his face and humiliation tear his chest, and humiliation tear his chest, until then came the time when a nail turned into a flower. He wanted to know where tears go when the temporary ends and the eternal starts. 6. The detached leaf, the detached leaf returned to the stalk that gave birth to it. He came back when the sky was completely dark and everything shining suddenly faded. When an ambitious man wished that all heads against him be removed from their bodies, so as it repeatedly happened, a river of mere blood flowed along the valley of his story. He asked, where does the wind blow when an arrow goes back to the chest of the archer? Which direction will a worker go if the shoes betray the feet that wear them? There was no reason why dust should stay in the eyes. Then he lighted the fire, and everything was burned except the truth. 7. He has returned to the sword that wounded him. He has returned cheerfully, because love has always tried to find a way to put a sword back into its sheath. 8. He is soaked in the moonlight. He has given everything he has and has become the richest man ever, having no need of anything but love. He is soaked in the moonlight of the noble heart of a woman who has made his whole life a spring. He smiles, spreading the fragrance of flower. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Ali. Now
Thank you,
we're going to
Ali.
watch a conversation between Ali and Jan recorded a few weeks ago. So,
It's so wonderful to see you again, Ali.
Nice, very nice to see you again. It's been a long time. I miss you. I miss Montreal. I miss everything. The snow, and especially the lawn chair, Soiree.
Oh, we would love it if you came back for a visit. And if you come back for a visit, you have a place to stay.
I hope so, but I don't know.
Oh, yeah. So I wanted to ask you about the poem that you're sharing with us.
Yes.
You could give us the title again and tell me your inspiration for this poem.
Yes. Basically, this poem is inspired by a popular legend in Indonesia. You know, Jan, my new book will be all of them are inspired by legends in Indonesia. This is one of them. This is in Indonesia. It's called the legend is called Pangeran Biawak. It's kind of the prince of lizard.
The prince of what?
Lizard.
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 Caesar.
Yeah.
Lizard.
It is told that one day, that as like most legend says, in the long time ago, there was a prince who was asked by his father, by the king, to get married, but the prince didn't want to do it for now, for that moment, because he's still waiting for something good or the right time for him to get married. But because of that, the father was angry with him, and he said something bad about him.
Okay.
So because of that saying, I don't know what is it in English. It's called in Indonesian terkutuk. Dikutuk apa? Yeah, the prince was then cursed by his father.
Oh.
And he become an animal like human. So it's between human and lizard.
Okay.
Yeah. And it's not only that, but the father then asked him by force, for sure, to go.
Oh.
So that prince then, which is still very young, go and didn't know where to go, but he just go and left everything, left the kingdom, left the good life in the kingdom, and it's like going to find himself. To find him himself. Yeah. It's about that.
Yes.
And why I called it, my poem title is Lyrics of Chakapake. Chakapake is the character in the legend. Chakapake is the prince, that
Okay.
young man. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I can remember that you were working with legends before. I remember.
Yeah.
Yeah. Have they
Uh,
always fascinated you, the legends?
yeah, because I like them. I like his legends. It started when I was very young, you know, like when I was a kid.
Mm-hmm.
You know, my reading habit is mostly mostly created by my passion to read legends.
Okay. Yes. Yes. Yes.
And you know, it's also common in Indonesia that parents or older people tell stories,
Yes.
tell especially legends
Okay.
to the younger people, to kids. You know, yeah, I think there is something value in it. You know, something that is being transformed to the younger generation, so that you know, tradition or culture is still there.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's kind of like that.
Yeah. Oh. So when is your new book coming out?
I have printed some
Okay.
only in order that I can follow or participate in the competition. But
Okay.
the actual publishing is not done yet. I'm still preparing.
Okay.
You know, I can show you this.
A little higher. A little bit
Yeah.
higher. A little higher.
Okay.
Okay.
So
Oh.
this is will be my new book.
Okay.
You know the illustration? This is made by my daughter.
Oh my.
Yeah.
Oh, it's beautiful.
That small girl is now big, and
Yes.
is already a scholar from philosophy.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
It goes so quickly, doesn't it? The time.
Yes, it is. Time goes very fast.
Oh my. So it's not bilingual. The book is not bilingual.
No,
Oh.
unfortunately not.
No.
It's all Indonesian, but I have translated some of them.
Yes,
Only
yes,
some of
yes.
them, yeah.
Right, right.
Because you know it's not always easy to to translate, even though this is your own poem.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. The language is yes. It's hard to change from one language into another often, yes.
Yeah.
We
And as far as my experience, there is always a kind of distortion when you translate them.
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Do you ever write anything in English anymore?
no, but what I'm doing with my English is translating English novels.
Oh.
Yeah, last time I did it for Toni Morrison, the first novel of Toni Morrison.
Okay. Wow.
Yeah, that Bluest Eyes.
Yes, yes.
Bluest Eyes. Yeah,
Oh,
it's been
wow.
published. It's been published by the publisher in Yogyakarta. But
Oh,
you know what? Yeah, you know what, Jan? Translating is hard, but
yes.
you don't make more money. It's just like you do it for fun.
It's good for your English.
Yeah, I know. But I like to do that.
Oh, that was really good. I enjoyed that. Yeah, so I think that pretty much winds up our evening. I have to thank you for joining us for this special Semaine de la Sensibilisation Musulmane, or Muslim Awareness Week edition of the Lawn Chair Soiree. Our thanks to our audience, and with special thank you to all who are visiting from Indonesia at this time. We're grateful to our special guests, Ihab Latoif with Carolyn Mary Swade, Shamsa Habib, and Deanna Radford, Ali Di Musirifa, and Ahmad Al-Khatat with Jan Jorgensen. We hope you'll join us again on Thursday, February 18th at 7 p.m. as we observe Black History Month with a special tribute to Dr. Horace Goddard. Dr. Goddard passed away recently, and he was very much a force behind the Logos reading series and a fixture in the literary scene here in Montreal. Anyway, it'll be an open mic evening, and we'll invite people to prepare a 4 to 5 minute presentation, which includes original material, if you like, as well as a poem or short piece of prose from a Black author who inspires you. And as it happens to be only 4 days away from Valentine's Day, you might want to share a love poem or not, up to you. So again, thanks everyone. It's been an illuminating encounter, and it's the most wide-ranging encounter I think we've had yet in the Lawn Chair Soiree, since we're spanning the globe to Indonesia this time. So we'd have to go to another planet to get much further than that. So thank you all.
I'd like to add a word, a very brief word, since this is the end of the last day of Muslim Awareness Week. So this is basically the last event that is affiliated with Muslim Awareness Week 2021. So again, I thank you very much, and I hope collaboration in all ways possible between us all on all levels to combat all forms of xenophobia, not only Islamophobia. Thank you very much for having this.
Thank you. Yes. All right.
I just want to say thank you all, and I wish you a gentle day ahead if you're in Indonesia, and I wish you sweet dreams if you're here in North America. And yes, let us walk gently on this earth with respect for the earth and one another. So thank you so very much. Oh, somebody just arrived.
So wonderful to see you again, Ali.
Nice.
Head. Oh. Ali and I hadn't seen each other in quite a long time, and I couldn't stop giggling because it was so wonderful to bridge half the world and reconnect. So I have to say I watched it a couple times just because it made me so happy. So I wish you all much joy. And where is Shams? You know, we'll take Shams' advice and bathe ourselves in good memories and happy thoughts and love. So till the next time.
Thank you so much. Thank you, everyone. And I'm so happy for my voice to reach Indonesia. I think it's the first event that my voice was really there. And thank you so much for everything, all the beautiful people that I saw today. Thank you so much.
Beautiful salawat, Shams. Beautiful salawat. Yeah. Allahumma salli ala Sayyidina Muhammad.
Salatu wassalam, sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Thank you so much, Habibti. I'm so happy. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Wonderful.
Thank you, love you very much. Alhamdulillah.
It's wonderful.
It's truly a blessing. Thank you so much to all.
Thank you so much for everybody here.
Amazing. I don't even know how to describe the way I feel. It's just comme si régénéré, revitalized. Et ça fait du bien à mon cœur, à mon âme. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Merci beaucoup.
Stay safe, everyone. Stay
safe.
Bye.
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 Merci tout le monde.
Les douces,
Take care.
Oh. Thank you, thank you. Good to see old friends and new.
Tutup dulu itunya. Tutup dulu.
Goodbye.
Apa?
Goodbye.
Kamera. Nah, udah leave.
Goodbye.
Leave di sini.
Goodbye. Goodbye. So take good care.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Thank you for joining us from so far away. Bye. Oh, we've Farid Mustafa. Let's see. Hello, Farid Mustafa. We've just ended. We're so sorry to have missed you, but there will be a video. There will be a video available on the Lawn Chair Soiree. It's called www.lawnchairsoiree.org, and then you look for the video archives. So we're so sorry you missed the program, but we're so happy that you came, and I wish you well. Okay, good night. Oh, and I would say to you, good day. I wish you all the best. Bye-bye.